and welcome to Urban Myths and Legends. We're here at Ronkonkoma County Park, so join us as we take you through this haunted location. Alright guys, so this is the Ronkonkoma County Park. So the history is actually quite a long history. So this land was originally owned by the Commerdinger family back in the early 1900s. They were actually one of the earliest settlers in Wisconsin, and they owned a 90-acre land north of Lake Ronkonkoma. So pretty much almost all that land north of Lake Ronkonkoma was their property. The Commerdinger family were also war veterans. They served in World War I as well. So there's a lot of history into this land, as well as a lot of very cool site stories.
Alright guys, behind me, this all used to be water, like a fog almost, years and years ago. In the late 70s or early 80s, two guys and a girl went camping on that little island back there. As the story goes, they raped and murdered her. They pretty much now have claims of EVPs of a woman screaming in the area, and basically in this whole entire area.
So around this spot is where actually we saw two lights coming down the other pathway.
Yeah.
And we thought that it was people coming, so we were thinking the cops, you know, we start like not running, but we were like briskly walking because we're like, all right, we need to get somewhere where we won't be seen. And we're noticing like these flashlights are moving crazy fast, but they're staying dead still. So like these people are running after us because they're catching on us without the flashlight shaking at all, which I know we definitely thought was pretty weird.
And it's funny you mention that, because about 5 years ago, I was investigating here with a small team, and I was literally right in this spot, and I see two flashlights coming down the pathway. Now, they weren't steady like yours. They were in motion. But I took my team, and we came around this bend to try and get away from them and head down the main path that we enter from. And at that point, we saw two flashlights coming towards us. So I had us dip into the woods and just said, guys, if they see us, they see us. It is what it is. There's nothing we can do. We see the lights coming from both ends, and then they just stop. They're just gone.
Alright guys, how you doing? So the whole story behind this place is back a bunch of years ago. A bunch of teenagers had a bonfire out here right in this location, and somebody threw a keg into the fire. Under pressure it exploded, and sadly one of them got hit with shrapnel and did pass away. And because of that, we have actually had some activity here caught on camera and EVPs.
There's another theory called Chris Fleming's theory, which is...
Yes or no?
Yeah.
We've also seen mists and had pictures taken that have mists in them. Also, we have heard claims of Indian chants, and there are also claims of shadow people being seen in this area.
So one night when we were here, it was myself and Mike, and we were in this section of woods, and it was during an overnight, so we were hanging out. We knew we were going to be here for a little while, and all of a sudden we just started feeling like we were getting surrounded. Like you felt like no matter where you went in these woods, there was somebody watching you, and it just felt like it was getting closer and closer and more intense and more intense. And finally we did our EVPs and we asked our questions, and then finally Mike and I were like, all right, it's time to move on. Whatever's here doesn't want us here. So we were respectful and we moved along down the pathway and we continued to walk around. That was a pretty intense feeling that night.
All right, so one of our first investigations out here was with Long Island Oddities, actually. They brought us out here one night. We were pretty deep into the woods, and the guy that runs Long Island Oddities, his name is John. And we were all kind of investigating, looking around, and he's a big dude, you know, big beard, big guy, you know. And in the middle of the investigation, he yells out, "Ah, get it off me, get it off me." And what happened was a beetle crawled into his beard. When he yelled out, my heart sunk down to my chest because you have this big guy yelling. Didn't turn out to be paranormal. So a year later, we come back. It's a group of 4 of us, all guys that night, and we are investigating in this area. And we were kind of just talking about that, you know, what happened a year prior with John. And we get a woman's voice on an EVP that says, "Ah, get it off me."
It was the beetle. That thing was a fucking beetle.
And we didn't hear it at the time. When we play back the audio, you hear a woman say, "Ah, get it off me." It was kind of mimicking what we were talking about from what happened a year later. So.
Right here, when we were walking into the investigation, this was actually fairly recently, within the past year, myself and James were walking ahead of the group, just walking down the pathway, and I was talking about how this place, it just feels so different. Like, it just seems different every time we come here. And then I was walking past, I'm like, where does, you know, like, why is it so different? And I have an EVP of a female, and it says, "That's my fault." Looks so fucking different. And then we're continuing to go, and I'm like, within not even 20 seconds, I'm like, and where does this pathway go? And then I got the same female voice that says nowhere. Like, what's down that way? So that was really interesting. It was just like, we were talking, and it was responding to what I was talking to James about on the way, so.
Thank you everybody for joining us on this season of Urban Myths and Legends. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe for some more paranormal infotainment.